Hello everyone, this is Tong Li from IBM. Today I will introduce you the Hyperledger Minifabric. In this video, I break up all the things you can do with Minifabric into 6 parts. In the first part, we will talk about what Minifabric is all about and how to use it to set up a simple fabric network. Later, we will talk about how to use it also set up quite complex fabric networks across many organizations. We will talk about channels and its operations in part 2, and chain code in part 3. In part 4, we will talk about endorsement policies, new organization additions, and private data collections. Then we will move on to the artifacts that Minifabric creates to help you work with other tools such as Fabric SDKs and the Visual Studio Code extension. In the last part, we will look at the magic of Minifabric and reveal how it works and how you can use it to learn Hyperledger Fabric and perform fabric operations very easily. Minifabric is the tool to help fabric application developers and administrators to orchestrate fabric network and all its artifacts, such as channels, chain code, and organizations. It is a tool to teach a fabric user to become a fabric network deployer, application developer, and a network administrator. Minifabric is an open source project. You can find it at the link on the screen. It supports Hyperledger Fabric Release 1.4.1 or newer versions. You can find the short README doc when you hit the repo, and also can find the user guide by following the link on that page. Minifabric empowers its users. You will never need to struggle with deploy a fabric network, yet it gives you the flexibility to deploy any fabric network you wish. You can use it to clean up after you no longer need the fabric network. You can create channels, join peers to channels, install chain code, approve and commit chain code. Regardless of what programming language supported by Fabric you use to develop your chain code, you can install your chain code the same way. Regardless how different your chain code might be, you can always invoke your chain code using Minifabric, but only focus on the invocation parameters rather than the complex chain code invocation syntax. You can use Minifabric to query blocks and inspect transactions inside a block. Regardless, the block is the Genesis block or the newest block. Making channel configuration query and update are very easy. Adding a new organization to an existing fabric network in Minifabric is really just editing a JSON file and one Minifabric command. Minifabric can set up a small fabric network on a small virtual machine. It can also be used to stand up fabric network on large physical servers. Minifabric created connection files and wallets make your application development very easy. You will never need to guess or pull your hair out on what you might need to connect to an existing network. The minimum requirement to run Minifabric is a Linux or OS X system with Docker 18.03 or newer. You can easily get such environment by running VirtualBox on any modern computers, including Windows. Throughout this entire video, I will be using a VirtualBox Ubuntu 1904 VM, which only has 4 GB of memory, about 20 GB of hard disk. To get started quickly, you can follow these 2 steps. Simply copy and paste each command on the screen. The first step is to get the Minifabric and create a working directory. The second step is to stand up a Fabric network. Create channel, join the peers to the channel, install, approve, and commit chain code. This is all done by using the default settings and parameters. If this is the very first time you are doing the second step, it may take a while since Minifabric will pull down few necessary Docker images from a Docker Hub to stand up a Fabric network. As you can see on the left-hand side, Minifabric uses a YAML file for you to specify what kind of Fabric network you like to stand up. In each section, you can have more or less entries. Each entry represents a node. Each entry must use the dotted notation to name a node and its belonging organization. The first part of an entry is the node name. The rest part of each entry represents the node's organization. When you execute the minifab up command in a very clean directory, you are using the default specs to stand up a Fabric network. If that is not what you want, you can always create your own spec to stand up a Fabric network. Your own spec file can look like any of the examples on the screen. Use the spec.yaml file from Minifabric repo as a starting point. Then you can make changes to the file and save it as spec.yaml in your working directory. Then simply run minifab command again. In a few minutes, you should have a Fabric network running using your own network specification file. Just remember, before you use your own spec file, you should clean up running Fabric network if you already have one. Minifabric does a great job to maintain a very clean system. If you want to keep all the Fabric certs already generated by running Minifab up, but shut down all the nodes like the Docker containers, you can run mini down command. If you do like to clean up everything, including the certificates, other artifacts, and all peers CA order nodes, then you can run minifab cleanup command, which cleans up everything. You can also choose to restart your Fabric network by simply using Minifabric restart command. Stand up a Fabric network using a different release is very simple. Just use the -I command line option to indicate the release you want when you run minifab up command. If you do not remember what command to use and other available options, you can simply just run minifab command or use a -H or --help option to show those commands and available options. Let me show you current Docker version I have. I will download the Minifabric. Now I move it to a location where I can use it very easily. Use a -H option to see all available commands and options for Minifabric. Currently, I do not have any Docker containers running. You can see from this command, it shows nothing. Let's start up Fabric network. This process actually will take a while. I fast moved the process. You now see the total time taken, all the containers running. These are the Chinko containers and peer older nodes containers. In this first part of video, we just want to show you the startup and the cleanup process. So let's go ahead and issue the cleanup command to remove everything. After the command is done, you can see that I don't have any other containers running. That concludes our first part of the video. In the next part, we will talk about channel and channel operations.